Have you ever captured the perfect shot only to find out later that it was destroyed by motion blur or rolling shutter or even the noise that your camera shutter makes? What if I told you that your choice of shutter could actually be wrecking your images without you ever realizing it? Hey everyone, welcome into Magnolia Photography SC. I'm Jeff House and I'm a wildlife photographer in Charleston, South Carolina. We are going to be talking about the shutter today. And now I realize that most of you listening to today's show are probably familiar with it. You know how to use it, but we're just going to take a real quick second here for those who are newer to photography to point out two vital roles that our shutter plays in our photography. Because it's going to be important to understand these things as we work through today's discussion. The first way that shutter plays a vital role in our photographs is through exposure. Shutter, of course, is one of the three legs of the exposure triangle, and it's something that we can use. It's a tool that we have available to us to help us achieve a balanced exposure. If we do not have enough light in the scene, well, we might use a faster shutter speed, maybe something like 1/30 or 1/60 to allow more light into our camera sensor to help increase that exposure and make it a little bit brighter. But what if we already have too much light in the scene? Well, then we can, of course, do just the opposite. Maybe we'll use a shutter of like 1/1000 or 1/2000. So that we can limit the amount of light hitting our camera sensor and darken down the image. Well, that's just one important role it plays. What about the second way we can use shutter speed in our images? Well, we can use shutter speed very creatively to create some really interesting photos. Maybe we are photographing a flying bird. It's streaking across the sky, and you want to create something that has a real sense of motion. You want something super dynamic that is just going to be completely different and grab the viewer's attention. Well, you might slow that shutter speed down to maybe 1/30, maybe 1/50, 1/60, somewhere in that range, maybe even slower. Maybe you'll go, 1/25, whatever the case may be. You might use a slower shutter speed like that, though, to create purposeful motion blur. This can give your photo a real sense of motion, make it very dynamic feeling. And again, in the process of doing that, tends to be something that looks very artistic. But maybe you want to do what a lot of wildlife photographers do and what we often do in wildlife photography, and that is freeze the action, right? So if we're going to do something like that, of course, we're going to be using a faster shutter speed, maybe 1/2000, or maybe something even faster, 1/4000, right? If we have a small bird or if we have something that's moving very rapidly, we're going to have to use those faster shutter speeds so that we can lock down the focus, get that subject to be completely frozen in time with no blur whatsoever. Neither of these options is incorrect. Right? There's no right or wrong here. There's simply a preference. There's simply a photo that supports your creative intentions. So whatever they may be, don't hesitate to experiment with shutter speed when you're out in the field to create these different vibes. Now that we kind of have a good understanding of how our shutter can be used in our photography, what is the difference between a mechanical in an electronic shutter? Well, let's start with a mechanical because that is the one that most of us are going to be familiar with. That is the most common type of shutter that we use. So the mechanical shutter, think of it this way, right? If we're taking a picture, once we depress the shutter, what is happening is that there are two curtains inside of our camera that are moving. They are referred to as a front curtain and a rear curtain, and they will open and close based on the shutter speed that we select. So if we use a shutter speed, it's going to open and close at a slower rate. If we use a faster shutter speed, then obviously it's going to open and close at a faster rate. But that is exactly what is happening with a mechanical shutter. The minute you depress that shutter button, that front curtain opens, and then whatever shutter speed we have set for, the rear curtain will follow shortly behind it. And however long those two curtains are open is how much light is going to be allowed into that sensor. Well, what happens when we start talking about an electronic shutter? Well, kind of as the name suggests, everything is happening electronically, right? We don't have any moving parts like we do with a mechanical shutter. So how is that working then? How is the sensor? How does the sensor know how long it needs to collect light for if there's no curtains opening and closing? Well, again, it's all done electronically, right? Our cameras are built in this particular scenario to communicate to the sensor, all right, this is going to be our shutter speed. I want you to start collecting light here, and I want you to stop collecting light here. And that is how we are going to capture our image using a specific shutter speed with an electronic shutter. Now that we know the differences between those two shutters, now it's time to kind of get into the meat of the show, right? And that is, what is the advantage of a mechanical shutter? And of course, kind of goes hand in hand, but what would be the disadvantages of an electronic shutter? The first advantage of a mechanical shutter is no rolling shutter distortion. So obviously that would be the disadvantage of an electronic shutter. And what does that mean? Well, when the electronic shutter is gathering information, when we're taking that image, your sensor is reading out the information of the picture that we are gathering, right? So what is happening when it does that is, if we are doing anything where we are kind of panning the camera or moving the camera to track our subject, we can kind of get this warping or this skewing effect that happens to our image. And when that happens, what you will notice is if there's anything in your background, maybe you have some sort of a telephone pole or trees or something along those lines, as you're panning and moving that camera and the readout is taking place, with an electronic shutter, sometimes we can get back to the computer, and when we look at that image, what we're going to see is those trees are not perfectly up and down. There's kind of like a bending or a flex that is occurring to those trees. And so that is the rolling shutter effect. So you have to be very careful about this. Now, some cameras, when an electronic shutter, they have very good systems in place, and you rarely come across this skewing or warping effect. But for many cameras, they are greatly affected by this, and it can completely destroy your images. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick break just to remind you that if you're looking to pick up a copy of DxO Photolab 8 or any of the other software that they offer, be sure to head down to the show notes where you can use my link and my special discount code Magnolia to receive 15% off any of your purchases. Also, don't forget that I do sell DxO preset packs at magnoliaphotographysc.com. Whether you're looking for presets for wildlife, portraiture, or even nature and landscape, I have preset packs available for you today. I'm also adding more and more products to the store, so be sure to check by regularly. And coming soon is going to be a PDF guide on camera settings. So if you want to ensure the sharpest, best quality photos possible while you're out in the field, be sure to check it out. The second advantage to mechanical shutters is they are more reliable under artificial lighting. Now, of course, this isn't a huge problem in wildlife photography because generally speaking, we're not photographing them indoors. But back in my old days of doing wedding photography, this was a huge issue for us wedding photographers. A lot of the wedding venues had LED lighting inside of them. And LED lighting is constantly flickering, right? It's turning on and off however many times it does in any given second. And when you were using an electronic shutter, it was not uncommon for you to get this banding effect. And when you get the bands in your photos, it was nearly impossible, if not completely impossible, to get rid of them in editing. So this was something that many wedding photographers really had to deal with. They had a real hard time with it. And it's something that you got to be really aware of when you're photographing weddings. A third advantage to mechanical shutters is generally better dynamic range and color accuracy. And with the mechanical shutter, we just tend to get better and more information, especially out of the shadow areas of our image. So that can increase the dynamic range, right? And again, the dynamic range is really the number of tones that we're getting from our camera, from the highlights to the shadows. And so that can be really important because the more information that we have in our images, generally speaking, the higher their quality. The fourth and final advantage of mechanical shutters is consistency. So with mechanical shutters, what you see is what you get. There's no lag, there's no weird artifacts. It tends to behave much more consistently when compared to an electronic shutter, especially across different situations. Nothing is ever all perfect, and there's definitely some big disadvantages when it comes to mechanical shutters, and especially wildlife photography. And of course, the first one is noise. I have not come across a single subject in wildlife photography yet that appreciates the sound of a mechanical shutter. This will scare the hell out of a lot of our subjects, and it can be the reason for why we miss a lot of shots in wildlife photography. So if this is something that you're doing, if you're, really doing a great job of getting physically closer to your subject only to scare them away and miss the moments because your mechanical shutter is making so much noise, well, I think it's time that you start to look at using that electronic shutter in those situations. Wear and tear, that is number 2 for disadvantages of mechanical shutters, and that's obvious, right? We talked about this earlier in the show. We are using mechanical shutters. We have that rear and front curtain that's opening and closing. So anytime that we have moving parts, we know that anything like that is going to have a lifespan. Now, typically when it comes to the shutter mechanisms in our cameras, most of them have a lifespan of somewhere between 100,000 shutter clicks all the way up to like 500,000 shutter clicks. So of course, anytime you're purchasing a camera, that may be a feature or a statistic that you would want to investigate so that you understand what your camera is rated for. Because bottom line is, at some point that mechanical shutter is going to wear out. It's going to fail. And you're going to want to understand approximately how long that's going to be, because that's definitely going to be an added expense down the road when you have to repair or even replace a shutter mechanism. Depending on your camera's age, make, and model, it actually may be more beneficial to just purchase a new camera outright. The third disadvantage to mechanical shutters is slower continuous shooting. Now, this is another big one for wildlife photography, right? Huge one. Now, I'm shooting with the Sony A1. I don't know if I've ever used a mechanical shutter since I've owned the camera, and I think I've owned it now for, 6 to 8 months, somewhere along there, if I'm doing the math correctly. But it has a mechanical shutter, has electronic shutter, and I have to be in the electronic shutter if I want to maximize the frames per second. Now, of course, the Sony A1 will shoot up to 30 frames per second, but I cannot get 30 frames per second from the mechanical shutter. I can't get anywhere near that. So I'm going to always be in the electronic shutter in order to take advantage of those frames per second. Now, what's really interesting is that the electronic shutter generally will give you more frames per second, but just keep in mind that that's not true in every case. And this is something else that I would encourage you to look at when purchasing a camera, if frames per second are a big decision for you. And of course, if you're a wildlife photographer, it should be. But I also have the Sony a7R5. Now, this is one of those more rare situations, but when I put that into the electronic shutter, I actually get less frames per second than I do with the mechanical shutter. So just something to be aware of and something to be mindful of when you're making your next purchase. And the fourth disadvantage to mechanical shutters is shutter shock. Now, you may be on a tripod, you may be photographing wildlife in a low light situation, and you might think, all right, we got a low light situation, but I've got my camera supported here on a tripod. I am good to go. And you're going to use a slow shutter speed to do something creatively, right? Maybe it's really dark, and maybe you want to use one of those shutter speeds that's under 1/100th of a second, right? Maybe you're at 1/60th or 1/30th again. Whatever the case may be, maybe you're just trying something creative. Keep in mind that even on a tripod and all of those things going on, if you're using a mechanical shutter, the mechanical shutter has movement, right? And that can cause the shutter shock, which can create some vibration in your camera, and depending on your settings, can also result in blurry photos. All right, guys, that is the difference between mechanical and electronic shutters. Let me know in the show notes what you tend to use when it comes to your wildlife photography. Are you using the mechanical or are you using the electronic? Let me know if you've had photos that have been destroyed due to rolling shutter, motion blur, or even because of the noise that your shutter is making. Did you scare the hell out of the animals and they just took off and left town? I'd love to know how you guys are finding all of this when you're out in the field. So again, let me know in the comments below. Hey, if you found this video useful, if you found something helpful from this, please be sure to like the video so that it gets pushed out to more like-minded individuals like us who want to learn more about these things so that we can be better photographers. And if you appreciate this information, I would also appreciate if you would consider subscribing to the channel. All right, I hope you appreciate that. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.